These last 3 months have been absolutely hellacious, eye-opening, life-changing, but also so very mundane and monotonous and confusing. This is a very different time in my life. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Hummingbird Arcana Podcast. My name is Jo Hummingbird. I am an astrologer, Usui Reiki Master, and a tarot and oracle specialist. I'm here to help awaken you to your cosmic divinity. Today is an episode that I have that isn't one that I necessarily thought I was going to make, if I'm being very honest. I thought I was going to be on a little bit more of a hiatus for a little bit longer, and there's a lot that I have to say, a lot I have to share, a lot that I also don't want to share, just because I want to keep some things in my life to myself, and I think that's reasonable, I think that's fair, I think that's valid. And with that being said, I do also want to give you guys a little bit of an explanation as to why I've been gone for so long. It has been a very challenging few months for my physical health, for my mental health, for my spirituality, for my sanity, for my finances. I'm sure so many people can agree or relate or can empathize with that because of the way that the world is right now. You know, depending on where you're listening, where you're tuning in from, what country you're in, the state of the economy there, how your government is behaving, how you're being affected by other governments across the world, other countries, other political issues, things in and of your own life, your personal experiences, your family, your loved ones, your work, everything. So this is just kind of the story for me right now. I'm going through a lot of life right now. I had some challenges with my health when I came back from Panama. I had to unfortunately leave and come back to the States, as I'm sure you heard me mention in my full moon in Sagittarius episode. That was a few months back when that happened, and I was sick while recording and ultimately ended up staying sick for the entirety of the rest of May, leading into June and the beginning part of July. And as of the time that I'm recording this, it is August 9th, 2026. So I have had plenty of time to recover and thank Goddess for my health getting back online, because I was really worried there for a minute. I was not going to let myself fester in my own unconscious fear mongering, but at the same time, I genuinely just needed to take a lot of space to silence the noise, silence my responsibilities, and look after my body, because my body was demanding that of me. And I'm sure any of you who deal with health challenges or know people who do can understand and empathize with that. And despite the inconvenience of that setting back the podcast and my content and my bookings and my work, I needed it as much as I didn't want it. And I thought that my kind of break, my resting of my body, my, I guess, sacred pause was while I was in Panama, but it wasn't. It wasn't. That was a different experience for me. It was a sacred pause in some ways, but it was also an accelerator in other ways. It was also only 2 months of my life. It wasn't like it was this great reset for me. I mean, in again, certain ways it was, certain ways it wasn't, but it was more of a container for my healing, a container for processing old trauma, for finding closure for things that I hadn't found before, and or was already trying to and seemingly failing at in my own perception, when that wasn't actually the truth, because human processes of healing are never a failure. It's just a matter of time, a matter of loving yourself, a matter of being patient with your process. And I got to watch a lot of my process rapidly unfold in Panama, and that's what that experience was for. It was for me to go heal. It was for me to go find myself again, away from the noise, away from my old life, away from anything, anyone, any situation that I was in other than the present of being in Panama, being on my own, being in a new country with new set of, cultural lanes to navigate as a visitor in a land that is not of my own. And it was a very beautiful experience. It was also a very scary experience. It was so many things. I do plan on making an episode all about everything that happened in Panama, what it taught me, so stay tuned for that. That will be coming around when it comes around. I can't guarantee that right now I'm going to be hopping right back onto the horse and being consistently uploading episodes every single Wednesday the way that I was in the past. And that kind of does break my heart a little bit. Not because I want it to be that way, but with the setbacks with my health that I did experience coming back from Panama to the States, I ultimately wasn't making money because I had to take care of my health. I couldn't work for my clients. I couldn't work for myself. I couldn't take on any projects. I couldn't record the podcast. I couldn't do any editing in Canva. I couldn't do hardly anything other than rest and eat. That's pretty much it. I mean, other than like the basic functions, like shower, laundry, chores, whatever. But beyond basic survival monotonous function, I was not capable of operating because of my health. And that put me at a financial setback with my business because of all the travel expenses of having to come back home unexpectedly. Everything is a different experience financially in Panama, even if the U.S. economy is very heavily tied into it. It still was a bit of an easier financial experience for me in Panama versus being back here in the States, especially when you're sick and can't work. I didn't get to do any readings or reports or healings or anything of the sort. And that set me back in my business to where I can't currently afford to pay my overheads to keep my business functioning right now and to keep doors open. So you may have noticed on all of my social media accounts or on my website or in my link tree that I have my bookings closed, and they have been closed as of July 5th, because that's when I finally started getting a little bit better, but I wasn't fully in the clear yet. I was just over the giant hurdle of the biggest part of the health setback, which I still have yet to fully figure out what all happened. I know multiple contributing factors, and I'm suspecting that it's a combination of everything that, really knocked me on my ass, for the lack of a better term, excuse me. But it still baffles me how badly it got me. Like, girl, it got me good. So I'm just taking my time to figure out my next steps, and I am having to do things a lot more practically and logically rather than emotionally, intuitively, and spiritually. And that is not comfortable for me. That is not who I have been for the last 12 years, half of my life, which I've been involved in this field and doing this work not only for myself and other people, but for just the sake of being involved in that version of a human collective consciousness, of not giving into the matrix, not surrendering my sovereignty to the man. And there have been times, of course, where I had to, everybody has to get a day job, and to a certain extent at some point, for the most part, depending on where you are in the world and what socioeconomic status or position you have. But I digress. I still have to, right now, as of the time that I'm recording this, I have to go get mundane work, and that is okay. It's something that I've had to reshape my narrative with because I worked so hard for so many years to utilize the day jobs that I did have to build up this business, to build up my expertise, to build up my funnel, my marketing, my offerings, my actual wisdom that I have gained in real time from real life experiences of studying and offering readings and healings and becoming a certified Usui Reiki Master and being an astrologer for almost 10 years now and being a reader of Tarot and Oracle and being involved in this space professionally for so long. I have devoted so much of my spirit, my life, my energy, my focus, my attention, my resources, my money, everything almost in my life has gone towards this. And I'm back at another point where, thanks to not only the health setbacks, but the current state of the economy in the States and the job market and the horrendous nature of what is happening between the US government and other governments across the world, I don't have the resources to open the doors for my business right now. And so this episode isn't going to be anything about pitying me or asking for your sympathy or your money. I don't want that. I don't want that. This episode isn't going to be anything that I'm marketing anything to you either. I don't want that. That's not my goal. My goal with this episode in particular is taking a deep breath to really feel into the intentionality of the words I want to utilize here. My intention with this is for if there's anybody out there who, regardless of what life is handing you, whatever cards you're being dealt, that if you're having to go back to the drawing board again, but you still have your calling and you still have your community around you that wants you to show up and appreciates you when you do, and you appreciate your community because they're showing up, that it's okay that if you have to go back to that drawing board, figure out a new plan, maybe start from scratch all over again, maybe go back into a field that you didn't want to go into just to be able to float yourself until things get better again. That's okay, because we're all a part of this capitalistic, patriarchal, colonizer-ass scheme that we have all been forced into, whether by proxy or by choice. And regardless, it is a challenge for everybody right now, unless you're a corrupt, money laundering, evil fuck, pretty much. Take a look at all the people who are quote unquote doing well right now. It's all the evil people in the world, or the people who are hoarding wealth and resource away from the working class so they can keep profiting off of our labor. So I don't, again, share any of this with you to gain your sympathy or for you to pity me or to send me money because I can't keep my doors open right now. That's not the point. The point is, if you're going through something similar, whether that's your health has set you back, or the economy has set you back, or fascism has set you back, or fill in the blank with whatever has set you back in your life from pursuing your dreams and from that tangibly supporting you in the moment, that's okay, especially if you're doing it alone, by yourself, especially if you're the one person running it all, similar to me. I'm my graphic designer, I'm my CEO, I'm my social media manager, I'm my content creator, I'm my video editor, I'm everything in this business. I'm the product, I'm the service, and I'm the function. So if you are in a similar space where you're busting your ass to try to create the life that you deserve and that you dream of, and it's not going your way right now, that's not your fault, most likely. Not that there isn't room for reflection and self-accountability. Please be a healthy adult, be grown-ups, reflect, have some introspection, take your time, do what you got to do, but then get right back to it. This has been a 3-month period for me of absolute unpredictability, chaos, and lack of control. Not from a sense of like my poor life choices. That's not, no. No, it's just like my health, socioeconomic, fascism back in the States. Doors can't be open right now, so I got to go get some money in the mundane world and bring it back and resupport myself because my health put me back. And that's okay, because there are so many people in the world who don't have the opportunity to work in any capacity because of their health or because of a disability or because of a financial restriction or a gatekeeping socioeconomically. And that is so much more common than you would realize. Listen to anybody in an underserved community that's a part of a minority group, fill in the blank with, people who are just, not receiving of generational wealth, like anything, any of those circumstances can apply, and you can relate to that same concept because it's a similar experience. It's not the same, but it's similar. It can yield similar results or hinder progress in similar ways. So any progress for my business right now has pretty much been hindered. This time period has really taught me a lot about my divine masculine's ability to hold space for the fullness of the polarity from the feminine experience of my divine feminine. My divine feminine was very, I want to show up, I want to do this work, I want to do that, I want to be in the spiritual space, I want to sit in the intuition, I want to pull the astrology, I want to serve my clients. But then my divine masculine was like, honey, we need to like stop, because you're polarizing yourself between the fact that reality is dense as hell and it's densifying your experience, hindering you. But then you're also over there in the other polarity of, I really want to do this, I really want to do this, I really want to do this. And you're so polarized that you're creating executive dysfunction for yourself. And that's not helping you heal right now. So stop. Let your body take a rest. If you take a financial hit, you take a financial hit. We'll go fix that shit later. We'll go get a day job. I mean, we as in the divine masculine, the divine feminine within me and within all of us, that's just, this is not like a split personalities thing. Chill. I digress. Like the we as in the divine masculine telling my divine feminine, we will be okay. This is not the end of the dream just because you hit a rough spot. We've had rough spots before. We've navigated them. We have come out on top. And we'll do it again. It's called resilience. And it's called faith and determination and follow through. And I've made a promise, not only to myself about this line of work, but to spirit, to the universe, to the goddess, to God, to whatever the word for the divine is, to the collective human consciousness, to the people in which I have helped and have reciprocally helped me by investing in my work. I have to show up. And the best way I can show up right now that I can still afford to do is record podcast episodes for free, like I've been doing for almost a year now, which is crazy. We're at almost 10 months since I started the podcast, but, of course, I have been gone for quite some time, so we can't say that it's consecutive. So I apologize for that inconsistency. That's more so an internalized discrepancy that I have with myself, or tiff that I have with myself, rather than somebody else or other people being upset or projecting that onto me. So that's my own work to do. But I digress. So circling back to why am I recording this? Why am I just talking out of my ass right now? Because it's authentic. Because it's what's real for me right now. I'm not going to perform. I'm not going to sell to you, even though that is technically part of my job still. I don't have open doors for my business to do that right now. So what am I going to do that I've been doing regardless of if I had open doors or not? Be authentic, talk about my experience, utilize that to hopefully not only help myself, but to help others if it can. And I'm so beyond grateful if it does. So, this is a normal human experience to have setbacks in pursuit of your dreams. Most people don't get to pursue their dreams because of their life circumstances. So I'm incredibly privileged and grateful and honored to have been able to pursue this for the last 12 years of my life as a niche area of my own study, let alone professionally for 6 years and reading for people for over 9 going on to 10. So it's very eye-opening to have the universe put you on a big, big, big pause that is out of your control. And for you to reprioritize, to shift your focus, to maybe change your perception. And my perception has changed, especially since coming back to the States. I have found some comfort in being back from familiarity, but so much shit has happened politically that it freaks all of us out, and me especially. But I digress. These kinds of things are part of the current human experience. And so if you are feeling debilitated or hopeless, or like your dreams are just being thrown into the trash, that's valid. That is real. That is okay. Is it not okay in the sense that it's justified, but it is real, and it is your experience, and nobody can take that away from you. So don't beat yourself up for that being your experience if it is, and do what you have to do and keep your faith in yourself. And then that whole fear could creep in of, oh my gosh, but what if the world ends, or what if something crazy catastrophic happens and it affects me? And if it does, you would have gone through that experience in pursuit of what is right for you, having integrity, having the follow through, having the determination, having the willpower to do it. And that's not always easy. Hell, it's never easy unless you have everything handed to you or you buy your way through it. So you can bypass all the density and struggle that builds character. So don't give up on your story just yet, just because you're not at the chapter that you want to be writing, because you're still writing something that is fundamental for that chapter to be written. I hope that makes sense, and I hope it resonates. So what you can expect moving forward, at least as of right now, is some sort of inconsistently consistent content being put out from me. I don't really plan on engagement farming. I don't really like doing that. I don't like marketing myself. I don't like doing the whole, hey, have you heard of this? Well, how about you check out my thing? Like, I don't like marketing myself to you guys. It feels inauthentic. But the work that I do does feel authentic. The way in which the work I have done has been reflected back to me from the people who have received that work from me is real and authentic, and it is something I'm so grateful for. It doesn't have to be the praise through numbers and likes and money. I don't want praise. I want people to feel safe. I want them to feel empowered. I want them to know that you don't have to go through this alone. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars to become empowered and gain spiritual knowledge or self-awareness or to heal on your journey. There are free resources, not only for myself, but so many other amazing astrologers, healers, readers, practitioners, witches, everything out there. Threads is a great space, honestly, for that kind of stuff. There's a lot going on over there right now, especially with the recent coming to light about the evolutionary astrology branch, which you have heard me associate myself with in the past, and recently a lot of white supremacist, Nazi, racist agenda has been divulged and uncovered from within that branch. And so, just so you are all aware, just how you heard in the intro of this podcast, I'm not calling myself an evolutionary astrologer anymore. I disassociate myself from that work. I cut that off. I condemn it. I will not condone racism, bigotry, or anything of the sort within astrology, tarot, Reiki, spirituality, let alone anything else. I don't tolerate that shit. If you're a bigot, get the fuck out. This podcast is not for you. It's not a safe space for you. Bye. So, aside from that, this is not like oh, look at me, I'm just changing my title, you should be so proud of me. No, this is the bare fucking minimum in human decency. So, I'm just letting you all know, in case you're confused as to why I'm not calling myself an evolutionary astrologer anymore, that is why. And I will be workshopping a different title for myself, but just for now, we're just going to call it astrology, and I'm an astrologer. So, that's what I've been doing for 9+ years now, and it's not wrong to just call yourself an astrologer. It's not basic to call yourself an astrologer. I think some people really want to big up their egos with titles and fancy verbiage that doesn't necessarily have to do with their line of work, but maybe how they want to be perceived. And I didn't step into evolutionary astrology because I wanted to be perceived as a supreme being. Never. I thought evolutionary astrology, before all that racist shit got uncovered and divulged, it was a way to integrate multiple perspectives with multiple techniques and utilize that to help the soul evolve through its journey, through the astrological blueprint with the different techniques that the blueprint can show you. And that was my philosophy. That still is my philosophy, but I am no longer associating myself with the work or the branch of evolutionary astrology because of its bigotry and racism. And again, I will workshop a different title. We'll handle that another day. I don't really care about a title. I care about the work and the impact. And so getting back into that threads conversation that has just been taking over the thread space recently, all that. But there are tons of astrologers, again, healers, readers, witches, practitioners, you name it, they are there. And you can find their free resources, their low-cost offerings. I have low-cost offerings, but again, my bookings are closed right now. So the only things that are available of mine currently are my free offerings, which are my Astro Cheat Sheet, which is a free PDF to help you understand the rulerships of the planets, the signs, the houses, the dignities and abilities, so on and so forth. And that is, again, available in my Linktree. Link will be down below in the description as well as in the show notes for your convenience. I will have it highlighted for you, but you can also just go to my Linktree. You can go to my website for it under the free Astro Offerings tab, however you want to find it. It's going to be accessible to you. But I also have 3 PDF sample reports for you to look at in case whenever the doors do open back up later, you know what you're getting into before you click buy. I have a natal chart report sample PDF that shows you the full typed out PDF of your natal chart, the breakdown of the placements by sign, house, degree. It shows you a couple of points in space that are relevant. It'll talk about the aspects that are relevant in there. And in that session, I typically answer questions for you as well if I have the time and if you have any. Then I also have 2 other PDF sample reports available that you can look at in the meantime as well. The Big 3 report, where if you don't want to go into your whole natal chart, you just want a brief synopsis of dipping your toe into it, but you still want to have something that you can take with you and reference forever that comes with the session. The Big 3 talks about the sun, the moon, the rising, and it gives you the breakdown. Again, similar to the natal chart report, but just with those 3 positions of what sign and house they're in, the degree, how they're aspecting each other, and any questions that you have. Lastly, the other free offering, as far as PDF reports go, the composite chart report, which is the midpoint calculations between your birth chart and somebody else's birth chart that you feel you want to understand the connection on a deeper level with. So that is available for you as well. All of those are linked under my free astro offerings tab on my website and on my link tree. That's down below for you whenever you want to look at that if you feel called to. And then, of course, the podcast is always going to be free as well. It's never been behind a paywall for you guys. I don't have a Patreon exclusive podcast for anybody. That's something that I was thinking about doing a long time ago, but I just, between my health setting me back, needing to play financial catch up, all the other open tabs that I have going on, that is a one-man show running this business, I just don't have the time or the resources or the capacity for that. And so we'll look into that in the future. But if that's something you guys are interested in, please do let me know, and I will allocate my energy and attention and focus to that as well, because that is something I do want to do later down the line. But again, what you can expect are more episodes coming out. I do want to share with you everything that happened in Panama. I want to share with you a little bit about, now that the nodes have shifted away from Pisces and Virgo and now have moved into Aquarius and Leo, we are in a new year, or a 1.8 year cycle, which is about, 18 months or so, give or take, of this new nodal energy, this audacity versus authenticity, this whole nepotism versus nuisance, and nobility versus new world. Like, there is so much energy and nuance and intricacy and complication that goes into the conversation of the nodes shifting into Leo and Aquarius. We got Pluto in Aquarius that we've talked about a bunch on this podcast, and now we also are dealing with Jupiter in Leo energy. That's Jupiter-Pluto opposition with the nodes is a fucking trip, guys. Holy shit. At least in my chart, it's definitely activating some stuff. Not any like personal planets or anything, but it's activating some shit. But I digress. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to catch up on. We have a lot of things that I want to keep sharing with you, because I'm passionate about helping you utilize astrology to awaken to your cosmic divinity, to allow your spirit to become more activated, online, present, aware, living, breathing, moving through you, to you, for you, by you, as you, fully, as much as possible in this crazy fucking world that we live in. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Hummingbird Arcana. If you appreciated anything that you had to hear today, then do me a favor. If you're watching on YouTube, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, turn on that post notification bell so you're notified every time a new episode hits your feed. And if you're streaming instead of watching, then hi, hello, how are you? I'd humbly implore you to leave a rating for the podcast, and in the comment section of that review, let me know what you'd like to see moving forward, or any ideas for guests that you would like me to have on. So again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to this episode of Hummingbird Arcana. I'm Jo Hummingbird. It is my greatest privilege, honor, and pleasure to awaken you to your cosmic divinity. Many blessings, and take care, my beautiful friends. I'll see you next time.